All right, we are live, and let's record to the cloud as well. There you go. So you'll get a notification. Please accept that. All right. Well, welcome, folks. This is oGoing Business Roundtable and Fireside Chat. Today is August 24th, around 12 p.m. Again, thank you all for joining. We had to reschedule this roundtable once from earlier date, which was August 10th. So I appreciate everybody's support and understanding. And we have an important topic today with a great speaker on a very important topic for the day. You know, what makes great leaders, and what are some tenets to leadership, if you may. Is it? And I think one of the things I like to think about is are leaders born or are leaders made? And I think that's something we'll explore as well. And are there some secrets to great leadership? It's an oGoing roundtable, so we're going to as folks join, we'll have them share what they do and their business and have their stories as well. And what I want to do is start off with one of my favorite leaders when I came to this country, which was 1987, long time back. I feel old now, and that was from India. And anybody knows who was the president in 1987?
Was it Reagan?
Ronald Reagan. Yes. And I was. I guess coming from India, I did not know much about the U.S. presidency, how it works. I had no idea about how elections happen. All I know is there is this awesome, speaker who happened to be an actor sometime back, but I believe he was also the governor or something, right, of California before. So he had experience, and he had. And he is leading a nation with a lot of charisma. And, one thing I liked about his leadership style, and back then, the only access we had was through TV or radio, right? If you all remember, 87, 88, there was no internet, nothing, right? I don't think emails were there either, at least not in 87, 88. And I think when I saw him talk and some of his speeches, one of the things that struck to me personally was his two things. One is his command on the language. His communication style was always very enthusiastic. I mean, very passionate. When you hear him, you feel like this man means it. There's a lot of passion and purpose behind it. But then the second thing I really enjoyed was, here is a president of the country who doesn't mind sharing a joke here and there. He was very funny. And I think, and somewhere down the line, I had a whole list of Ronald Reagan jokes, that he said, in some of his speeches, and including the infamous one about I'm going to bomb, USSR. I don't know if you all remember that, which was a hoax. He didn't mean it. But I think when he said that, the folks out in USSR, we see the Cold War going on, and they literally thought he was actually planning on doing that. So I think so. Some of the things I gained from his leadership were humor and very purposeful communicator. Right? I thought he was very he came across as someone who was honest and someone who really cared a lot for the country. But that's kind of my bag. And of course, now we've had many more presidents since then. But I was like super impressed by him. And then I later on found out he's actually a Californian. Back then I was not in California. So I moved to California in 97. So then I felt even more incredibly proud, like, oh, wow, Ronald Reagan was a Californian as well. But that's my background. What I want to do is take a quick roundtable, go around it and have folks share quick stories of themselves. So let's start with Kamal, who is here. Kamal, thanks for joining again. I appreciate it. Kamal, you can unmute your mic and talk, or are you in listen mode?
No, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Kamal.
Yeah, thanks for creating such a good informative sessions here. it's always pleasure to meet very renowned people around. And yeah, I'm in the software. We are a IoT software development company based in Northern California. We create a custom software for the customers. And currently we are a little bit focused on creating a product for Indian 2 and 3-wheeler electric vehicles. So that is a little bit, long journey for us, but we are focused and we are trying to put our energies over there. So if you need anything about software, especially IoT or mobile apps or anything, you can reach out to me, advice or development or anything.
Absolutely, Kamal. And Kamal, what's the progress on the Indian 2 or 3-wheelers? You said you're helping them make them, or you're helping make the software for them?
No, we are making software for them. So we created a hardware device that has been plugged to all the 2 and 3-wheelers that doesn't have the smart capabilities that connects to the cloud. So we have like two vehicles and 2 battery systems are connected live and giving data right now. Our aim is to go to few hundred devices in next few months, so that we can start giving some more insight to other stakeholders.
Oh, fantastic. And are these products, are they in market now, or they're going to go to market soon? Or
yeah, they are in market. They are right now in POC, so prototype phase.
Okay.
That's where we identified like 2 vendors, and we are working with them. So they put our devices in there. Literally, like a couple of weeks back, we got the device made, our custom hardware device.
Yeah.
Now we installed it in 4 devices, like 2 vehicles and 2 battery management systems. So as we are speaking, we are getting data, and now we'll just go into the analyzing it and refining it so that we can make a broader launch.
Fantastic. Congrats on the initiatives and the launch. And yeah, we'll find ways to collaborate, Kamal. I'll reach out to you separately for sure. Yeah.
Sure thing. Anytime. Yeah.
Absolutely. We also have joining none other than Dr. Crawford. Dr. Crawford, go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you. I've just published my book, The Power of Wholeness.
Yes.
Discover a more fulfilling, successful, and rewarding life. And in it, what I wanted to share with people is an integration technique that I developed. And the interesting thing about it, I've used it with individuals, with myself a lot, and it's about bringing together the different parts of us, our subpersonalities, and especially those who have opposing beliefs. I've also used it in a corporate setting to help bring together the team there. So in other words, we're doing our inner team, our outer team, our family team. And I'd also worked on it in community when I was director of the Chambers of Commerce in San Juan Capistrano and Laguna Beach and up in the Monterey Peninsula. And I've also used it in our in high tech. My whole background is marketing, advertising, and public relations. And in the process, I could see that the beliefs that we held, the difference of beliefs makes a huge difference. I know I had just gotten a contract in Silicon Valley for our company with AT&T.
Nice.
I was so excited. We had money up front, $250,000 to develop a word processor. We had a word processor, but develop a document management system. This was back in the 80s. And so I went through the office banging the file cabinets, making noise, and all of the developers came out of their offices and stood at the door. What's going on? I said, we've got this contract. It's just great. They looked at me. It's going to be a lot of work. So here's different beliefs. I'm thinking how exciting it is. We're going to move forward. They're thinking it's a lot of work. And when we had a meeting about it, I said, and they said that again, I said, it's going to be easy and fun. So it's taking beliefs and looking at them and twisting them around and trying to create within us and around us a sense of harmony and peace. What a unique idea. And it does work. And so anyway, that's who I am, and I'm sticking with it.
No, absolutely, Dr. Crawford. And I think, as promised, we will do a session with you as a follow-up to the original roundtable we had. I think it's very important that we bring that.
I'd love that.
I think yesterday, I don't know if you saw the news, but we had another mass shooting in Orange County. You know, it was quite hard to
Yeah,
read
Cook's
it. I mean,
Corner.
very close to where we live. So, uh, uh, poor folks. I mean, and some more injured, and you know, it's. I think
Today, it happened today.
last
Oh,
night.
yesterday.
Last night, yeah.
Oh,
So it
that's
was.
disheartening.
Yeah, very disheartening. We're close to where we live, and I mean, I think it shook us, right? And we knew it was going to happen, right? Because we hear it everywhere else, and I'm like, it's a matter of time and not a matter of if, right? And but so I feel like there is definitely more need, Dr. Crawford, and we have Arthur here who's going to I'm going to introduce him quickly. You know, we have that need for leadership. You know, not just for managers or leaders of the company. We need leadership at all levels. You
Exactly.
know, at the
And,
community level, and we need folks. Even you know, it doesn't. You don't have to have that moniker that you're a leader. I think everybody is a leader. Everybody can spread the message of hope and love and that belonging that we need to have in the communities. And I
yes,
think we
this
need to do that.
our country is so divided by beliefs. And we're getting information coming in that is informing us in different ways.
Yes.
And our president said that he was going to unite us and did just the opposite, you know, and it's frightening, really, when you look at it, to see everybody just pulling apart. And I'm sure that Arthur's going to talk about the fact that part of leadership is setting the tone, setting the way in which we present ourselves and create a sense of working together, you know, instead
Absolutely.
of pulling apart.
Yes, so let's introduce also Irma. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, Irma. You joined. Irma, go ahead and please introduce yourself. You can unmute your mic. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name's Irma Perrone. I am a consultant. I work in organizational development, high value service, leadership, management, high value customer loyalty and employee loyalty. I'm an author of the book Win X, the problem solving model to win exponentially with customers, employees, and your bottom line. So I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Maybe give a little color on the book, Irma, if you don't mind, maybe a high level.
Sure. It's an 8-step problem solving model for businesses so that people can make better decisions. Not that any business has problems, right? But it's focused on making sure that your decisions don't hurt the company, but also are the best for the customers and the employees. So it really lays out how to really determine what the problem is, the root cause, and then make some evaluations, gives you a bunch of different ideas on different problem-solving methodologies. And then, you know, it goes into how to present a solution to, you know, if you don't make the decisions, it gives you an idea on how to present solutions to your boss. And it talks about after you implement the decision, how to follow up to make sure that the checks and balances are there. So it's an 8-step problem solving model.
Love it, love it, love it. So I'm going to find you for a future roundtable, you know,
I would
speaking
love
as
that.
well.
I would love that.
Love to have you
I'll
there
put
as
the
well.
book in the chat too, if anybody's interested, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Please do. Please do. And yeah, use the chat for connections as well. And we have also Dan here, Dan Waldrop. Dan, long time, my friend. How are you? So go ahead, Dan.
Good. Just tried to hop in real quick and support you, Sanjay. It's been a minute, so just, yeah, living life and moving forward.
Yeah, thanks. And seeing some lot of great updates on Instagram and elsewhere, and good going there. Yeah.
Yeah, super busy, man. So just for a quick intro, I own Ranger Media. It's a marketing agency, and we run Facebook, Google, TikTok ads, things of that nature for local lead gen and also e-commerce sites. We have our own graphic designers and things like that. So we try to do everything in-house and go from there. So we take basically your offer and we create, we create ads, we create ad copy, we do all those things and put people in CRMs or drive customers to your site and get them to buy.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining, Dan. I appreciate it. And thanks for, coming and supporting us, especially on a rescheduled date. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. And let's also introduce Sonal here. Sonal Ladwa. Sonal, go ahead, please.
Hi, thank you very much. It's been always very insightful to attend these roundtable from Sanjay. I am actually wearing two hats, and to your point, Dr. Crawford, of integration, I think that would help me because one hat of mine is I'm a psychotherapist as well as a divorce mediator, and the other hat I wear is that of a business person. My husband and I, we have a patented product called Toki. It's a toothbrush with an attached sliding tongue scraper. And I'm working on that currently with him. It's already out where we have our own, it's a totally e-commerce product. We're on Amazon. So I was very intrigued when you said integration technique, because last time when I was on one of these calls with Sanjay, somebody mentioned about LinkedIn and how we can have a business page which is different from your personal page. And so I was very curious about that. But I'm looking forward to hearing in today's session what can be done. And in terms of leadership, I think not just community or organizational leaders, I think every human being needs to be a leader, because you need to know how to lead yourself and conduct yourself to begin with. And it's not fair to leave everything to the government, everything to the so-called elected or selected officials. Each one of us have a responsibility and an accountability to us and our immediate surroundings and people. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, Sonal, well said. And Sonal is also a great colleague here in Orange County, and she leads a non-profit organization. She hasn't shared, I don't think, in the past, but it's called Akshay Patra, and
correct.
They provide how many meals a day in India?
2 million kids are fed every single day, and it takes $20 to feed a child for the whole year.
2 million kids every day, $20
every day
for the whole year. And Sonal, please drop the links to that.
I will, for sure. I will. Thank you.
So now it's my great pleasure to introduce Arthur Tassinolo. Arthur is many people in one, if I may, and I say that with a lot of respect and regard. And he's I've known him for many years now through LinkedIn, as well as when he was here locally in Orange County. And not only is he a great relationship architect, he's the author and speaker of many books himself, a lot of it on love and relationships, and he's also a transformational coach. And if you go to his website, is just by his name, arthurtassinello.com. And his life, he says, is all about exploration, education, and experiences. And each one of them being very interesting, eye-opening, and exciting. But what he really takes away from all this is, how we can be a scholar, but also an expert, that you can gain from all the spiritual teaching, psychology, and technology. And not just from how we think, but also what we do about it. And how we say, look, how do we live healthy, prosperous, and happy lives together? So he has been an entrepreneur, worn many, many hats, from CXO to consulting, and he has coached many companies. I just was talking to him earlier. His grandfather times 3, right? Third grandkid on already. So Arthur, congratulations. And, Arthur, the podium is yours. And one of the other things I also know Arthur doing is very creative, and he's also designing his own potential board game, which is I think we'll learn more about it when I don't want to steal all his thunder. But with that said, Arthur, go ahead, please take the podium, please.
Well, you've done me a great honor here, Sanjay, but thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I guess I won't talk anything about myself right now, because that's going to be kind of part of the presentation, and you can learn a little bit more about me as well as what I think about leadership. So without ado here, I'm going to try and share my screen.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it there?
Oh, absolutely. Love that photo.
Thanks. So we're going to get right into it right now. So what makes great leaders? In fact, let me just do this as well. Excuse me, just 1 second here. Yes, I can figure this out. So just welcome to the presentation of what makes great leaders and how to be one.
Although we don't see your video, so let's make sure your video is on.
I'm trying to avoid that because I'm looking at another screen.
Oh, okay, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
Right.
because okay, that's fine. Yeah.
And if I can manage this as well. So, as you know, I'm Arthur Tassinello. I am the founder and CEO of Essential Wealth, LLC. And I deliberately spelled wealth with an H, if you're wondering if I made a mistake or not. Because it's a combination of wealth and health. I find that you need both for a vibrant life. And so my passion and mission are to empower you to have success at home and in business through the transformational power of self-awareness and how to be a role model of professionalism, integrity, and inspiration.
Beautiful.
I love it, love it. I had no idea wealth. Huh? That's a great new word. Yes.
So a few of my many titles have been manager, director, VP, CEO, consultant, coach, author, and Toastmaster speaker. And my roles have been in sales, marketing, strategic partners, and operations. And the industries, just to name a few, because I've been in more than a dozen, have been in retail, telecommunications, computers, construction, sports promotion, pharmaceuticals, real estate, and app development as well.
Mhm.
So regardless of my life or my title or my role or my industry, I have found the best way to be a good leader is to treat employees, peers, clients, or anyone who crosses my path with respect, consideration, care, kindness, and love. I say it is selfless and selfish because the end result for me and the person I'm interacting with is peace, happiness, financial success, and getting a good night's sleep.
Mm.
Now, to be clear, I'm not perfect. I don't profess to be perfect. And in my decades of living, I've done things that I am proud of and sometimes regretted. So a few decades ago, I decided to understand why I do what I do. I decided to do a deep dive into understanding my part in all of these relationships, whether it was personal or in business, to really look at myself and appreciate my impact, the good and the not so good. As a student of psychology, spirituality, and science, I began a journey of self-awareness. Now, what triggered my emotional reactions? What were my beliefs about relationships? What could I do to make changes in myself that would change outcomes and how my actions and decisions affected those around me? Now, I'll get into all of these things that you can do to be a great leader, but the fact remains that unless you make changes within yourself, nothing will change. And the truth be told, the foundation to build upon to make those changes is love. It is the catalyst for having great relationships, and it's vital in the road to a successful business and life. Those two are connected, by the way. They're not disconnected. Throughout my decades of experiences in business, I've seen it over and over again where people in power or leadership believe that they need to be in control, sometimes more of a stranglehold of managing the people they're in charge of. They think that they need to bark out orders and everyone should comply. Now, these people obviously have been misled. For me, the word management, well, that's kind of like nails on a chalkboard. If there's something you need to manage, then manage a process or manage yourself. And start by understanding who you are and what your people need. See, if you are or want to be in position of leadership, then you must learn how you can help your people and not micromanage them. Now, how many times have you seen an employee who gets promoted to a management or leadership position because they excelled at their job? I'm sure a lot of you have. Now, just because someone is good at one thing or that one thing doesn't mean that they're leadership material. So let's look at it this way. You may be a good dancer by yourself, but if you want a partner to dance with, both of you will have to work on the steps to create a flawless dance that is satisfying for the both of you and to be admired by others. Just like dancing, creating the life and business you want may be a bit complex, but it doesn't have to be difficult. See, the challenge is making the time to become self-aware, to change your mind by getting out of your head and into your heart. Being a great leader takes time, it takes effort, it takes education and experience. But I guarantee you, if you put in the energy and make smart choices, you will find that the rewards you get are incalculable. Leaders or managers understand that their goal is to help those they are in charge of succeed. They recognize that love, as strange as that sounds, and as foreign as that may be to some, is the bonding agent, the relationship builder, which forms a strong foundation to build upon. You may be questioning what love has to do with being a great leader, and I can tell you that it is everything. But first, let's understand why it matters so very much. I want you to remember these two proverbs. To love is to will the good of another. And the other, words hurt, and they can cut deeper than any knife and will leave a scar forever. I know none of us have ever escaped hearing unkind words or saying unkind words. So to connect and have great relationships and success, you need to love others and yourself by watching your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Now, I've written 3 books: Quantum Shift into Greatness, 21 Days to Love, and Your Key to Love and Happiness. While the titles may not sound like books for achieving success in business, the truth is they are about you, and you are the business. The most recent book, Your Key to Love and Happiness, is a workbook. You may also consider researching the Johari window for ways to become self-aware. These are meant to help you understand yourself, as you are the common denominator in all your relationships. This is an opportunity as well as your responsibility to get to know yourself and know yourself as others see you. It is an opportunity for you to uncover how you formed your beliefs, to reflect on your actions and acknowledge your positive and negative attributes. And it's a way to understand your motivations and how you treat yourself and your relationships. See, once you have this awareness, it gives you the chance to change things about yourself that are disabling and hindering your success and build upon your strengths. If we don't understand this about ourselves, if we don't get to know ourselves, we cannot make those changes necessary within ourselves, because change is happening with or without your consent. Gandhi and Franklin have had a few messages in common, or they have a few messages in common. Ben Franklin said, "A man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still." And Gandhi said, and now the top quote I want you to notice, because this is his actual quote: "If we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change." Some news person or someone that decided to change the quote a little bit, because this is not his actual quote, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," that we all know. But it is important to know that, because again, if you don't change, don't expect the world to change. It's always incumbent upon, I say me, to do that. I have to change myself before I'm going to see any changes in the world. So there was a 5-year research program. In that program, it's been shown that 95% of people believe they are self-aware. Yet the truth of that is that only 10 to 15% are actually aware of their actions and who they are and how others see them. Now, in another survey with 467 working adults in the US across several industries, 99% reported working with at least one such person, unaware person that is, and about 50% worked with at least 4 unaware people. Peers were the most frequent offenders, with 73% of respondents reporting at least one unaware peer, followed by 33% of direct reports, 33% of bosses, and 16% of clients. You can see how we can get into trouble here. And while these people can make working with them or interacting with them frustrating, you don't have to be one of them. And there are ways for you to help them and help yourself. Now imagine if that is you or someone you know, and how that self-awareness can be a game changer. Not only could you be happier and less stressful and more successful, so can everyone else. There's an article in Harvard Business Review in October of 2018 by Tasha Eurich titled "Working with People Who Aren't Self-Aware." She says that at the office, we don't have to look far to find unaware colleagues. And I'm sure you understand that and have seen it yourself. People who, despite past successes, solid qualifications, or irrefutable intelligence, display a complete lack of insight into how they are coming across. And it has been shown that unself-aware colleagues can cut a team's chances of success in half. And it also means that unaware colleagues can increase stress, they can decrease motivation, and there's a greater likelihood of people leaving a job. And we know what that does to your bottom line when you have a large turnover in your organization. So in the book, Man's Search for Meaning, if you read it by Viktor Frankl, he was a psychologist. He talks about what he learned from watching the reactions of Holocaust prisoners, of which he was one. He concluded that prisoners who were more likely to survive had 3 specific psychological methods of resistance and self-awareness. 1, they had a rich inner life that gave them the strength to persevere, which was their why for survival. They had goals, which was their hope that they would be freed and be united with their families. And they discovered that they had a deep love for life, others, and themselves, and perhaps for the first time, that their life had meaning. So you may ask, what does this have to do with you and business? Well, perhaps if you look at yourself, you may be a prisoner because you haven't found your why, and you have lost hope, and your life lacks meaning. Like many business owners or leaders, you may think that sales and profits are the measurement of success. And while there are many, many tools that can provide metrics on how well your business is doing, that's not all there is to having a successful business. I'd like you to consider the following. What are you living for? Is it about money, or is it about something else? What is your why and your passion? What are your core values and beliefs? What leadership qualities do you possess? What are your short and long-term goals? And what are you willing to do to make those changes? Now, most people don't like change. They would rather stay comfortable in their uncomfortableness than to venture out into the matrix of self-awareness for something better. And even though they know that making the change will be more rewarding. So just for a minute, acknowledge that victory is not just about financial success, because life is not supposed to be all about work and accumulations. Life is about satisfaction. It's about being happy as well as being secure. I say you're supposed to work to live, not live to work. But you may see it differently. Simon Sinek says, start with why. Your why is your inner circle. It's your heart and the heart of the organization. It's who you are. It's your passion and your vision. Now, this concept is really simple. It means great businesses know why they're doing what they're doing, and they use that mission as their guiding principle. And so your company's message is built from the inside out. Now, I know you've heard this hypocritical phrase, do as I say, not as I do. The people in your organization aren't buying what you say, they're buying you and your why. And they're watching and judging your actions. That's why self-awareness is so important. The why involves a lot of introspection, also inspiration, vision, and clarity. Earlier, I mentioned hope, but why did I mention hope? Isn't hope just a wish? Well, yes, in a way it is, but it is also when you have confidence and trust because you know that you have the tools, you have the energy, and you have the resources to reach the gold at the end of that rainbow. Hope is really expectation, it's anticipation, it's optimism, and it's confidence that the goals can be achieved. When you have hope and you share your vision, you give hope to others, and they will follow you and help you succeed. Solid companies are built on great relationships, and great leaders do not blame or take advantage of others. They inspire. They take responsibility for what they say, and their actions meet their words. As I often say, if not me, then who? And if not now, then when? And if you're still not sold on love or the need to be self-aware, and if you think love doesn't belong in the workplace, or you think it's woo-woo stuff, then I'm sorry, you're still operating from your head and not from your heart. Remember, practicing self-awareness is about getting to know yourself, why you feel what you feel, and why you behave in a particular way. So having this awareness gives you the opportunity and the freedom to change things about yourself, enabling you to create a life and a business that you want. Okay, so these were a lot of words, and I think I've reached the end of my blah, blah, blah time limit. So for those of you who have been so patient and waiting for these 12 scientific and psychological tenets.
So Arthur, before we jump into that, let's take a quick couple of minutes from folks, who have been listening so far, and maybe to make it a little more interactive. Does anybody have any questions so far for Arthur? On topics covered so far. I put it in 3 categories myself. One was the large category of self-awareness. The second is the love which ties to relationships, the bonding agent. I think Johari window was very interesting for me. I saw that, somebody who appreciates logic and math. I thought that's pretty cool. And then of course the why, the why is the key about everything, right? So, but folks, go ahead if you have any questions for Arthur right now. I think we're good.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Elaine, please. Yes.
Hello, did you say me?
Yes.
Oh,
I
okay.
stick a hand up.
I have my hand up. What do you think is stopping people from being self-aware? why is there such a large number of people that don't take a look inside? As one guru I heard say, most people are living on the porch of their house. They never go inside. So how do you answer that?
I can only speak for myself, and why I decided to, a few decades ago, dive deep, because I was invested in finding out why my relationships, mostly my personal relationships, because most of my business relationships were pretty good. But let me do this so you can see.
Yep.
When I saw that, I could be married and then divorced. I can have a relationship with someone else, even though it wasn't a marriage, a relationship with someone else. And there always seemed to be some kind of disconnect in there. And obviously, I'm the common denominator in all of this. I say that many people, and I won't say most people, but many people don't want to look at themselves because it's hard to look at. When you go through different psychology books, when you look at spirituality, the way I look at it, even though I have been religious and then non-religious and then religious again, going back and forth, but spirituality in the sense of what everybody, the universe and so forth, however anybody wants to look at that. When you want to be better, so you have to want to be better. Unless, let me use this example. I like to digress a little bit, so you'll excuse me. Let me use this, and this is a prime analogy. So I had a fellow a few years ago that said he wanted to quit smoking. And I said, okay, let me help you with that. And then we tried one method, and then we tried another method, and then we tried another method. And finally, after a few months of trying all these different things, he went, Arthur, the reality is I don't want to quit smoking. So there it is in a nutshell. I mean, it's not hard to quite understand that you really need to want to be that better person. You have to want it deep in your heart and your soul. If it's not here, if it's not coming from here and it's coming from here, you're never going to get there. Now, some people might disagree with that, but I can tell you from experience and the businesses that I've been in and the many business leaders that I've met and the business leaders that I've worked for and the people that have worked for me, it always comes from here. It really has come from kindness. You want to be kind. Kindness and love for me go together. When you want to be kind, when you want to use your words in a way that don't hurt anyone, it changes everything in your life. I said it before, words cut deeper than any knife and can leave a scar forever. And it is the truth. You know that those words that you heard that were hurt you, they never go away. And there's always some specific instance that sometimes that'll be brought up for you.
Yeah.
When I look at that, I go, I don't want to be that person that does that to somebody. And it's not like I haven't done it. I've done it before. And I don't like that about myself. So again, I know this is a long answer to your question, but the reality is that if you don't want to look at yourself, if you want to look deep at yourself, if you don't want to take responsibility for yourself and your actions, nothing's going to change. It's always going to be the same old, same old.
Yes, I think that perhaps many people think that will actually weaken them to look at themselves and to come from the heart. They won't be as strong because we've been taught that our mind is our strength when it's actually the opposite.
I encourage people that if you've ever been in a leadership position, people have worked for you, I would say reach out and ask them to do a testimonial for you, okay? And see what comes back. Because I was surprised a lot of times by the very wonderful, beautiful things that people said about me that I didn't even realize that I was that good. And it's not that I haven't been bad. I get to that, you know, I've been there before. I've been on both sides. But some of those things really surprise you. And it's nice to be surprised by those things. But also, if somebody doesn't give you a testimonial, that says something about you as well.
Right.
Okay, great. So let's get back to the 12 steps of leadership, or 12 tenets, Arthur. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. So, number one, lead by example. It sounds trite, but it is true. Don't just say the words. Be a role model by demonstrating the values and behaviors you expect from others in terms of work ethic, professionalism, integrity, and respect. I know I said it before. The words "do as I say, not as I do" never made any sense to me. And I know it doesn't make any sense to anyone else either. Number two, well, communicate effectively. Develop strong communication skills through clear and open lines of communication. Provide well-defined instructions and expectations, which reminds me of Sturdy. Remember Sturdy McKee? He was on last month, and he had the book.
Yes,
right?
yes, of course.
And he had the book, Nobody's a Mind Reader. And
So true.
this is true for everything. Communication is so important. And again, you know, we talk about this, or I'm talking about this in business, but you have to understand that this is as true in your personal life as it is in business. So when you look at this, please just don't look at this as like, oh, this will make me a great leader. How about being a great leader at home as well? And change the dynamics of your family life, because it's all intertwined. If you're a lousy leader at work, you're probably not a real good leader at home either. I'm just saying. Don't know if that's true or not for everybody. But encourage feedback and actively listen. Every company needs a manual for new hires with explicit details of roles, chain of command, expectations, rules, and more. So just make sure that your HR department has composed a manual. Look, I've been in startup businesses where they had no idea what anybody was going to do. And that's a killer right from the start. What do you want me to do? I don't know. Just go do what you normally do. Do sales. Okay, I'll go do sales. So how about inspire, motivate, and reward your team by providing a compelling vision? Talked about this before, and setting ambitious but attainable goals. Inspire them to reach their full potential. Create a sense of purpose and provide incentives and rewards. A lot of people, there was something that was on LinkedIn the other day about, do you want money or do you want something else? And I go, well, yeah, I want money, but really the other things I want is somebody to just say thanks for what I did. And that goes a long way, because money isn't everything for everybody. So build strong relationships, foster a positive and collaborative work environment with your employees, show genuine interest in their well-being, support their personal and professional development, and create opportunities for team building in their personal and professional growth and development for reducing employee turnover. Now, I know that some of these things seem overwhelming, but they're really natural and it's not that hard to do. Take a look at yourself and what would you want from a leader? Maybe that's a good place to start. Delegate effectively. So trust your team members and delegate tasks appropriately. Empower them to make decisions and take ownership of their work. How many times have you seen a manager, and again, that's nails on a chalkboard for me, because it should be leadership, and leadership should not be micromanaging people. So provide guidance and support when needed, but also allow them the freedom to grow and excel in their roles. Again, just stop micromanaging. If you have to actually stand over someone to get the work done and get the work done correctly, they're the wrong person for the job, or you haven't given them the tools that they need to be successful. And if you believe that you have to do that with everyone, then you're the wrong person to lead. Foster innovation. So nurture an environment where people feel comfortable challenging the status quo and offering innovative solutions. No one has all the answers all the time. So you need some sort of feedback, whether it's a roundtable discussion or a suggestion box, and take them seriously. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're saying that. Well, they're saying that for a reason. Maybe you need to go a little bit deeper. Practice empathy and emotional intelligence. Understanding and, or should say, understand and empathize with the challenges and concerns of your employees. Cultivate emotional intelligence by being aware of your own emotions and those of others. Show empathy, be approachable, and offer support when needed. I know that I've seen people in Rhodes leadership roles where, like, you're the vice president of operations, or you're the VP of marketing, or the VP of sales, and they kind of live in their own silo. It's like they don't have their fiefdom. And so what they do is they insulate themselves from everybody else, and nobody talks to anybody else. And so it makes it difficult for the business to function properly and be successful. How about making fair decisions? So as a leader, you will sometimes have to make difficult decisions, analyze situations objectively, consider different perspectives, and make decisions that align with the best interests of the company and all stakeholders. That includes your employees. Then communicate those decisions clearly and transparently, because everyone deserves honesty and candor. 9, goes without saying, always be improving, continuously improve yourself, strive for personal and professional growth as a leader. Seek that feedback, reflect on your performance, self-awareness again, be open to learning from your mistakes, stay updated on industry trends and practices, and encourage a culture of continuous improvement within your organization. That's for everybody. Okay, so how about practicing patience and tolerance? Now, this has always been a big one for me, the patience part. Sometimes I'm way more impatient with myself than I am with everybody else. So I think a lot of people struggle with that, not just because I do, but I think a lot of people struggle with having patience and tolerance. So maintaining composure and perseverance when facing difficulties helps navigate these challenges and the setbacks and the unexpected obstacles. It also helps you understand yourself and your team's mistakes and shortcomings. And it helps in fostering a supportive work environment that encourages growth and improvement. And more than anything, don't forget why you work. I'll get back to, it needs to be about working to live, not living to work. If your life is all about work, think about all that you miss out if you have a family. And I can talk a lot about that because I had a family when I was young and I had a family when I was older. And I know the differences. It's about caring for yourself mentally and physically, and it's about learning from your experiences to improve your actions. And number 12, it's that work-life balance. More than anything, that provides a host of benefits for you, and it provides a host of benefits for everyone else that you're leading. You really have to find harmony with all parts of your life, because if you don't, at the end of the day and at the end of your life, your children, your spouse, your other family members, and even your friends will only remember how you treated them and the times you weren't there for them. And I'm sure that's not the kind of legacy you want to leave behind. So let me end with this. Great leaders, great businesses, great relationships, great families. They only thrive through kindness, compassion, understanding, care, empathy, gratitude, and love at the office and at home. Having these virtues costs you nothing, and yet they lead to massive opportunities. And while you are practicing these virtues within your company and with others, don't forget to be the same way with yourself. Because you, as they say, put your oxygen mask on first. If you don't practice these things with yourself, how do you practice it with anyone else? How do you do it the right way? And Sanjay, you said it right in the very, very beginning, before I even started this. You talked about great leaders being born. Well, they're not born.
Mm.
They
Oh,
don't become great overnight. It takes time, it takes effort and self-awareness. And remember this, it all begins with you.
Beautiful.
oh, excellent, Arthur. Yeah, let's take some questions. Did you have more slides, or yeah, if you can.
There it is, questions.
All right, if you can stop the sharing, we can go back to the main screen. Yeah,
Sure, let me do this.
this is fantastic. Yeah, so I have a few questions myself, but we'll take audience questions also.
I just wanted to say I need to leave because I have a
Okay.
4:00 meeting, but it was
Yeah.
great to meet everybody and a great presentation, Arthur. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. By the way, I started reading your book, a lot of great information and a lot of great points in there.
Oh, great. Thank you. You are
Well-
quick.
Thank
Thank you so much. You all, I
welcome.
got to run. You all have a wonderful day and I'll be checking you all out. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Irma.
you, Irma. I appreciate it. Yep.
Bye-bye.
So one question I had, Arthur, is about the relationships, right? So, of course, it would be great to have great relationships, but it doesn't happen all the time. I mean, I kind of put it in 4 buckets, and maybe I'm trying to simplify here. Like, you have relationships which are reciprocative, and there is a lot of engagement. Then you have relationships where mostly people are indifferent to you. So
Mhm.
there is that. Then you have relationships where there are a lot of questions being asked back and forth. Doesn't mean they don't like you, but a lot of questions as always. And then 4th type could be where people are frankly hostile to you in the sense that they don't appreciate who you are and what you do, both publicly in meetings as well as privately. So I guess the key is, as you said, leaders have to manage all this different types, of people and
Yeah.
relationships. So how do you really keep
So-
yourself even keel and deal with all this?
It's really not as difficult as it seems. I know there was a big presentation talking about a lot about self-awareness and so forth, which is really, really the key.
Yeah.
But I think if you get to that place, well, let me share this with you. I've done speaking before in front of groups, and one of the things that I usually start out with is I say, okay, some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you look at me and I remind you of somebody you like. Some of you look at me and I remind you of somebody that you don't like. I mean, that's just a fact. It's a judgment because not many of us just observe, right? I can look at somebody and I go, oh, you're heavy, you're thin, you're tall, you're short, you're male, you're female. That's an observation. But when I start to put tags on top of that, because maybe you're overweight and I go, how could you be that way, right? Or you're so skinny, why don't you put on weight, or whatever that is. That's the judgment that you need to stop, that all of us need to stop. Observe. I can tell you 100% of the time that it takes conversation after conversation with somebody to really get to know them and appreciate them and maybe respect them.
Understood.
It doesn't happen in an instant. But here's the other part of that. Knowing that, when you know that, you have the opportunity to not do what somebody else may be doing to you.
Oh,
And that changes everything, because now you come across as someone that is likable right away because you're interested in them. You're interested in what they have to say. You want to know more about them. They can get to know you. You know, we so often want to just like, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and I did this and I did that and all this other stuff. And people are going, Okay, so nice knowing you, Mr. Narcissist.
I see. I see.
So when you come from, you have to come 100%, you have to come from your heart. You have to come from love. You have to come from kindness. You have to come from interest.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy because we're human. You know that in the first 7 years of life, you're already programmed.
Mm.
Right? I can't tell you how many things I followed that my dad did that I did wrong in my relationship with my son at a young age. But I didn't do wrong with my daughter because it was 20 years later when she was born. I had the opportunity. I had the second chance. God gave me a gift. He gave me a second chance. I asked for it and he said, here it is. What are you going to do with it? And I made the change. But that's where I get to. This touches my heart. See, this what I talk about now is who I am and who I would like everybody else to be in the world. I think I don't know if I told you this, but do you know that if you and I, Sanjay, made friends with Verlaine and Irma, right? And we said, look, whatever you guys do for yourself, that's great, as long as you don't do harm to me or anybody else, right? But if the four of us now go out the next day and we meet four other people and we make the same pact, that's 8. And if we go out the next day, it becomes 16. And then at the next day, it's 32. And then the following day, it's 64. And then it's 128. Then it's 256, 512, 1024, 2048, and so forth. So I give you this example because, and I'll give you the big number, which will probably blow you away. I say that I give you this example because when people say you cannot create peace in the world, I say it may be improbable based on humanity, but it's not impossible. Because if we did that 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, at the end of 33 days, we will have reached more than 8 billion people. That's more than everyone on the planet. But you have to do it every day. See, this is what I live with within me now, because I know this, but I do it because I know it, because you can't just know it and not do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Very well said. Very well said. Dr. Verlaine, you had a question?
Oh, well, that's a great, great thought, isn't it? And one of the things that I've looked at a lot is the fact that this mirroring concept, that the people outside of us are telling us or showing us the parts within us. And so to make that kind of pact, as you said, of knowing your own heart and really looking at it and then realizing that something bad happens outside of you, or someone says something that isn't pleasing, or if they say something that is pleasing, you have helped to create that because a part of you is showing up outside of you. You know, Sanjay said this lovely thing, you look terrific this morning, and so that is there. And I had given myself approval before I came on the screen, right? And so we both agreed on that. Now, so you could, Arthur could say, well, you could have done this differently. And why do you have that background? And, and so then there would be a part of me that had said, I'm not sure about this background, and so it comes out. And so making that pact, what I see as the problem is that one person makes one false move. Everybody reacts and says, oh, they said that. No, they didn't say it. You said it inside of you. Okay. And that is what I would wish we could get through to especially the young people. And of course, every age is important. But if they understood how powerful they are as a creator, what a difference this would be, that they would realize that their thoughts really are creating their reality.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so much to discuss. I love this topic, by the way.
Yeah.
It's my favorite
I
topic
think
to
it's,
talk
I'm
about.
looking at the time.
We all agree so incredibly. It's beautiful. I mean, it's so fun, and your books are perfect. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, so you mentioned about thoughts, Arthur, you also talked about love being the bonding agent. And I mean, I think there are three elements to it, right? Like my wife is a Hindu, I'm a Hindu, but she's a part of Hinduism called Jainism. So it's Jain, Jain, and a lot of Jainism is focused on non-violence as the guiding principle. Of course, that leads with compassion and kindness and everything else. But they say that it's non-violence, not just in actions, non-violence in thoughts and words.
Everything.
And I think, I think if we think more, like by the time actions happen, it's kind of sometimes too late, right? Yesterday's shooting that happened, the mass shooting in Orange County, it's just way too late. And after the shooting happened on this TV, they were showing like a dozen or 2 dozen police cars and FBI and everybody. And I'm just kind of telling my wife, like, why is it always like that? It's always after the fact, right? And, it's kind of, we live in that scary world today, but I think what I'm trying to get to is the thoughts is the starting point.
Right.
And thoughts, I think as leaders, on the one hand, we need to be very self-aware about how we think and how we share our example to the world, and how we go about showcasing ourselves in terms of not just presentation but the authenticity. But it's also about how we inspire others with the kind of thoughts that they should be having, and then ultimately the words and then the actions. And so it's an ask, but I feel like that's where at a community level, Arthur, you talked about in 33 days we can impact the whole world, 8 billion people. And I think more and more, if we get more community leaders to start stepping up, in local communities where they're helping people at the level of thought before even they get to words of action. And I know it's a hard ask, but I keep thinking about it. I keep grappling on that, saying, what do we do, right, to have a more homogeneous, a more harmony, in the society? Yeah.
But you said it, you right there, you said it. See, it's because there's a proverb, it goes, watch your thoughts because they become your words, watch your words because they become your actions, watch your actions because they become your character, watch your character because it becomes your destiny. I think I left one out in there, but basically it all starts here, right? It starts with my thought about anything.
Yes.
Without a thought, nothing is created. That's number one. No thoughts, nothing's created.
I want to interrupt because I really am carried away about this. It's our beliefs first. You cannot have a thought about anything unless you have some sort of belief about it. And they are the seeds. That's out of which grows the tree. That seed of, if I say, well, I'm too old to be on television, this is, it's ridiculous. Why should I think I should be on television? I'm too old. In fact, when I was 50, I started thinking I was too old to get a good job.
Well, you were 50 now, Dr. Crawford.
Oh, thank you. Right.
Yeah, it's like,
I've gone
okay.
past that.
All right.
And well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be 80. If you can believe it.
We're in the same boat. Oh my
You
God.
too.
I'm going to be 79 in 2 months.
I'm going to be 80 in December.
But you definitely do not look it.
Thank you. And you
God
don't.
bless you.
Thank you. It's I told you about the beauty sleep, right? No, it's so these beliefs, if you look at our world, I mean, it is just astonishing, the beliefs that people hold. And when I've worked with them, to get to that central belief, you've got a part of you that believes that it's a good idea to be wealthy. Another part says, there's some real problems with that. I'm just fine the way I am, even though it's a struggle. So you start looking at each and what is the underlying beliefs that go with that. And then you realize, and what are they doing for you? And so right now you have these incredible belief structures that are just banging against each other. Yes. And I also believe the energy of this planet has increased by the vibrational frequency has increased quite a bit. And so the energy that used to be just the physical level has now gone into the emotional level. So you have a belief, you think a thought, Somebody insults you like they must have happened probably out there at Cook's Corner, well, you're a dumb guy. I can't stand you, or whatever. And then they, instead of being able to control it, the emotions immediately step in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and it's just so powerful. We've got to look at what is a belief doing for us? Why is it stopping us? Why is it creating such confusion? And if we could understand, we're in a room, you're making negotiations. I did this with AT&T. I sat on the same side of the table. I'm not going to sit across the table. I'm talking to the person, how can we make this better? Right?
So our beliefs, Dr. Crawford, are they changeable? They change with more beliefs that they come in, or they stay steadfast, or what happens?
The beliefs start with our family.
Okay.
And they start with our growing up, the 7 years of listening to people talk and what they do and how they proceed. You go to school, the media, and the more media that you watch, and all the social media is set up to keep feeding your belief, right? So you only see the news that applies to your belief that you'll open up. And so, yes, we need community meetings. We need opportunities to get together and do what you said. I did team building with True Colors. I was their marketing person, but I took the classes, and then I went to teach like team building at the University of California, USC, and between doctors and nurses. And there's 4 personality types and everything, and they were amazed at who they were dealing with. Who were these people? What were their talents? What were their abilities? And I think that, if we could get more of that happening, it'd be fabulous.
Well, Arthur, go ahead, please have some last thoughts before we close the roundtable. Arthur, the podium is yours.
I'll just give you one thought that I had about this whole thing at Cook's Corner, and that is the fact that I've been to Cook's Corner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Right. And you think about that and you go, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I could have been there. I could have been one of the victims.
Yeah.
And it is very sad. All this is extremely sad.
2 bad things happen. One is a good friend of ours that we know in the Indian community. Same day yesterday, just suddenly out of nowhere, just passed away. Just total fluke. And young man, still in his early 60s, I think. And then this happened in the night, right? So I'm like, what is going on? And this is like the last few years, it's been like this, right? It's kind of like we hear all these people. And I think I was telling my wife last night afterward, like, we stress on all the stupid things, it's like we just got to live life every day and just enjoy it. Not enjoy it in a vicarious way, but, just enjoy the moments we have, right? It's, we all work hard and we want to give back, and I think we're all living good lives. So let's just keep that front and center.
It's kind of like
tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? None of us do. So.
I have found that the more I help somebody else, the more it helps me.
Yes, absolutely. That is the path.
It's automatic.
Absolutely the path, sir. Absolutely. And on that note, let's do that. I will keep helping the community. Arthur, you have a fantastic 3 weeks with family, and my regards to your kids.
Both for
Dr. Crawford, again, great seeing
so
you
good
today.
to see you. And I'm still shocked that you're going to be 80. God bless you.
I am too. It doesn't make any sense.
I know. For me too.
And great, as you said, the WHELT, wealth, right? So
yes, WHEALTH. You got to have both. So anyway, love to both of you. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to me, and have a wonderful day.
And we are recording this, Arthur, so I'm going to be sharing the recording and the snippets. And if you don't mind, later before you leave, maybe email me the presentation. I'll share it with everybody as well. Just the 12
okay, sure, I can do that.
The 12 principles part, and I'll send it out. Make sure your contacts.
You just want that part, right? Just the 12.
Yeah. Make sure your contacts are in there so folks can, get in touch with you as well.
All right, I'll manage that, and I'll send it over to you. Thanks.
All right, folks. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.